I'm Cath and this is made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me for this video and welcome back to my channel. Because you might well know I haven't posted a video for a few weeks. I took a little break over the summer, so it's lovely to be back now and I've got quite a few videos planned and I'm looking forward to getting back into talking all about sewing because I didn't talk much about sewing over the summer and I have missed it. So yes, it's lovely to be back on and thank you very much for coming back to my channel. And I hope you all had a really good summer. I had a really nice summer. It went pretty quickly, which I guess is a sign that it was a good one. We spent a week as a family in Crete, our first time to the Greek islands. And it was lovely. It was very hot, but lovely. And then we also went to Wales for a few days, which was also lovely and lots of fun, but definitely not hot. There were storms in the night. It was quite chilly, but it was lovely to get to Wales and see the beautiful scenery there too. So yeah, it's been a really lovely summer. But now my children are back at school and the house is a bit quieter. And yeah, I've got lots of sewing plans for autumn, which I'm quite excited about. But I thought, first of all, I'd start off with my first video being a makes video to sort of catch up to speed on what I've been up to over the last few weeks. And during the summer holidays, I didn't get a great deal of sewing done, but I did manage to squeeze in a couple of makes just before the summer holidays finished. And then I worked on a couple of things through the summer, just here and there, and I finished them now too. So I've got 4 things to share with you. So I thought it'd be good to get all up to speed and then I can start talking about new plans, new patterns in future videos. So yes, this is my makes video to catch up on my kind of July and August makes. But before I start talking about all of those things, and excuse me if I'm talking a bit fast, it's been a while since I filmed a video, so I just need to get back into it. Yeah, before I start sharing my makes, I thought I'd share what I'm wearing today as usual. And I think over the summer, I've been wearing quite a lot of casual clothes, just that are easy for sort of, active stuff when we've been out and about. So I thought today, now the children are back to school, I'd wear something that felt a little bit more put together, I guess, and it's perfect weather today for a blouse. And I thought, yeah, I'll put a blouse on. It's so grey outside, I'm just looking out the window, the rain is coming down. It's very classic UK back to school weather. It's definitely the temperature's dipped a little bit. So yeah, but a good opportunity to wear something a little bit more autumnal. So I've got on this blouse, which is quite an old one actually. I made this a few years ago. And I made it using a blouse pattern I really love. I've tried quite a few blouse patterns since, but I do come back to this one as one of my favourites. I just like how it fits and just some of the features. I'll show you the pattern and I'll show you why I like it. So this is the pattern I'm wearing today. It is the blouse by the Avid Seamstress. And I always say with this one, I think it's a great first blouse pattern to try because it's got some of the kind of shirt or blouse type features, but not like all of the technical details. For example, it's got this band collar rather than a full 2-piece collar. And I quite like that kind of collar. I find it a bit more comfy to wear than like a full collar. And it's not got any darts, so it's a fairly relaxed fit on the body. And it's got a more slim fit sleeve and it's like a 3/4 sleeve with a little elasticated cuff, which again is a bit easier to sew than like a full cuff of a classic shirt. And it's got button down front. And it's just quite a nice relaxed one to wear, and I think it's a pattern you can dress up and down. And today I'm just wearing mine with a pair of jeans, so quite relaxed. And this version I made in a Liberty Tana lawn fabric. I love the colours in it. I think they're really pretty and rich and quite autumnal, I think, with the kind of almost teal blue and the sort of reds. And yeah, I love it, Liberty Tana lawn. I've sewn with a few and I just love that it's a really lovely soft lawn to wear, so it doesn't feel that crisp, so it feels nice and comfy. And I often prefer a blouse in a viscose because it adds that drape, but I think although this fabric I wouldn't say is that drapey, it still feels more soft and relaxed to wear than a crisper cotton. And obviously it sews up really nicely because it's a cotton lawn, so yeah, a nice one to sew with, not too slippery or shifty or anything. So yeah, you can see the 3/4 sleeve with a little elasticated cuff. And yeah, it's just quite a nice sort of simple blouse. I think I made the size UK 6 based on my bust measurement. As with a lot of patterns, my waist and hips would sit in the size above, but I think the bust measurement is probably the most critical one here, and then it just it sort of billows out a little bit as it goes down. So yeah, that is what I'm wearing today. I'll pop a picture up so you can see how it looks with my jeans on. Yeah, it just feels nice to be wearing, I guess, something woven really. I've been in a lot of jersey all summer and I do love like a blouse, so yeah, that is what I'm wearing. But I'll move on now to sharing what I've been sewing. And I think I'm going to talk about these makes in the order I finished them. So I'll start off with the one that's furthest away. I had to sort of remind myself of this pattern and all the details because it is a few weeks since I sewed this one. But I sewed up a top using a remnant of fabric that I had left over from another make. This is the fabric here and the top. And this is a viscose fabric in this lovely bright red colour with this sort of larger scale floral than the sort of ditzy style floral I've got on today, as you can see. And I originally used this fabric to make, what's it called? The Iso Studio Dovestone dress, which is a really, really pretty dress pattern. I'll put a picture up of the Dovestone dress that I made. But I had quite a decent amount of fabric left afterwards because when I bought this fabric, I bought it as like a sort of a bolt end type piece from my local fabric shop. And I think it was maybe 2.5 meters or possibly a bit more. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And so when I sewed up the Dovestone dress and I made this sort of just below the knee version rather than the full maxi length version, because there's also a maxi length version of that dress. So I ended up with quite a lot of fabric left over. I hadn't bought it specifically for the pattern, so I ended up, yeah, with quite a lot left over. And it's really pretty fabric and I wanted to turn it into something, but it was quite different to the Dovestone dress. So I'd wear maybe at different times and I wouldn't feel too much like I had two things in the same fabric that I was wearing, you know, sort of concurrently, if that's the right word. So yeah, what I decided to do was turn it into a nice simple top to showcase the pretty print. So I made this top here. You might recognise this pattern from the cuffs. It is the cuff top by the Assembly line. So this pattern here, which is a pattern I've sewed a few times before and I really like it, but I've never tried it in a viscose before. I've always sewn it in a slightly more structured fabric. I've made it in a cotton lawn and also a sort of lightweight sort of baby cord type fabric. And I wasn't sure how it would work in a viscose because the cuffs are quite sort of rigid with elastic in them, whether it would feel a bit like too much of a floaty top with sort of rigid cuffs. But I thought I'd give it a go, and I thought since I already had something pretty in this fabric, if I didn't like how it turned out, at least I'd got something else I could enjoy wearing in this fabric, so I thought I'd just give it a try. So yes, and actually I really like how it's turned out. Oh, I'll mention the details of the cuff top first in case you're not so familiar with the pattern. It's quite a simple top with this boat neck and it's got a seam line down the front and the back, so you can sort of have fun with top stitching down that seam line as like a feature top stitch and things if you want to. Although for my version I actually just ended up cutting the fabric on the fold instead and taking out that seam because I thought it would suit this fabric a bit better. But I have done the top stitching on another one and I enjoyed that. But yeah, so that's the top. And it's got this oversized cuffs, and that's the main feature. It's got quite a straight fit. I wouldn't say it's oversized, but equally it isn't very fitted. It's quite a sort of straight fit. And it has a good size range. It has a 2 size range, so an extra small to large, and then an extra large to 4XL. And the large, this smaller size range, this one I've got here, just has a boat neck that you can just pull on. But the larger size range I think has bust darts and also has a little keyhole opening at the back with a button closure. So it just has a slight adjustments or slight adaptations. So yeah, it's got a good size range. I've always made the size extra small, which is pretty much bang on all of my sort of measurements for bust, waist and hips. It's one of those patterns that I don't spread between the sizes on, which are quite a few and far between. And it sews up really nicely. It's quite a simple, quick sew. I've made a couple of adjustments to the pattern, having sort of tweaked it a little bit over time. So I've sort of brought in the boat neck slightly, because I found from reading before I made my first ever version that it is quite a wide neck, and some people had said you could see bra straps, so I just brought it in a little bit and I can still get it on over my head. And I also have dipped down the neckline slightly at the front, and you can see it doesn't dip down that much more than the back. And when I saw some pictures, I think of when I was looking at this top originally, I could see it looked like it came quite high, and I just thought I'd rather it a little bit lower. So I just dipped it down by like 1.5 centimeters or something. And the other thing I've done differently is the calf top has a facing on the neckline, but I've used bias binding instead. I just made some bias binding out of this fabric to keep it nice and simple. just because I prefer that finish. And I find on my other cuff tops, although I have sort of stitched down on the shoulders, sometimes I still find the facing flaps about a bit and I have to kind of tuck it in when I put it on. Whereas the bias binding doesn't, so that's why I did that. It's got the cuffs, and yeah, it's just quite a boxy, relaxed fit. And yeah, very different to my Dovestone dress. And yeah, I really like how it's turned out actually. I think possibly I do marginally prefer the cuff top in a slightly crisper fabric like a cotton lawn, because it does then hold the straight shape a bit more. So I guess it stays true to kind of the silhouette at the top, maybe that is what it feels like to me. But actually I really do like it in the viscose too. It has a different feel to it. And I found with this top, when I put it on, I preferred it tucked into a pair of jeans. Whereas with my cotton lawn version or my baby cord version, I'd more wear it untucked. So I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like on. I love this colour. I really like red, like especially like a kind of bright red like this. I remember having my colours done quite a while ago, and I think it was one colour that was supposed to sort of complement my skin tone. So yeah, I'm really pleased to have tried it. And yeah, I definitely recommend the cuff top if you want quite a nice simple woven top that has a little nice feature of these little cuffs, which I think, yeah, just make it a bit different to your average woven top. So yes, that is my first make. I'm just glad to have used that fabric up rather than having it sitting in a drawer with me umming and ahhing over what to do with it. So yeah, that was make number 1. So make number 2 is another one that I sewed up before the summer holidays started. But with this make, once I finished it and tried it on, I wasn't totally sure that I liked it on me. So what I ended up doing is I popped it away for the summer, and then I got it back out again a week or so ago and re-tried it on and had to think about what I wasn't sure about. And I ended up unpicking a few bits and just tweaking it a little bit. And I think I like it more now. So I think it's a finished make now and ready to wear, which is nice because it's quite a wintry one. And I'm hoping it's one I'll get a lot of wear out of when the weather starts getting a bit cooler, and it might be a bit of a wardrobe staple. And it's a sweatshirt that I made using a new to me pattern, and one that I've been wanting to try for quite a while. And it's this pattern here, the Paper Theory LB Pullover pattern. So this pattern has been around for quite a while, and I know it's a really popular one because there are loads and loads of posts on the Instagram hashtag for the LB Pullover. And what's quite cool about this pattern is I think it looks really different depending on what fabric you choose. So it's one you can make over and over again in different styles of fabrics, and it will look really different. And you can also make it in knit and woven fabrics, which I think is pretty cool. But the general sort of premise, the general style of this pattern is for quite an oversized sweatshirt with a dropped shoulder, and then there are 2 different neckline options. Either you can make it as a funnel neck or a classic crew neck. But I think personally, I really associate this pattern with the funnel neck particularly. I've seen, I think, more versions of the funnel neck and the crew neck, and that is the version that I wanted to try myself. And in terms of sizes, well, I downloaded here the UK 6 to 20 version, but there's also a UK 16 to 28 size range too in this one. So I've been meaning to try this pattern for a while. I've had it since last December. I remember I was quite pleased because the Fold line did like a run up to Christmas, sort of special emails, and they had discounts in some emails, and in one email they had the option to download this pattern for free. So I got it then, and I've been wanting to sew up ever since. And I decided to sew up in some fabric that I thought would be a nice match for the pattern. And it's a fabric I've sewed up twice now. I've got it in 2 different colours. And this is the fabric now. It's a really cosy, wintry one. And hopefully, although it's black, which can be hard to show up on camera, you can see the lovely cable texture to it. So this is the fabric from Higgs & Higgs. And it's called, I think it's called their Luxe Faux Angora cable knit fabric. It's lovely and soft, so it does feel a bit like, I guess, maybe an Angora fabric would. But I think in reality, the composition is a mixture of viscose and polyamide and polyester. I'll link the fabric down below. It comes in lots of nice colours, and I originally bought the sort of pastel pink colour and made it into another cosy sweater. And I made that one last year and got quite a lot of wear out of it last winter. But I thought it'd be nice to have something in the classic black too, which would go with a lot of things in my wardrobe. So yeah, I bought the black fabric, and I've been meaning to sew something up with this fabric for quite a while. So with the pastel pink fabric, I decided to make a slightly adapted version of the Megan Nielsen Jarrah sweatshirt, which is one of my favourites. And it's a little bit similar to this pattern really. It has a funnel neck version as well, and that's the version I made in the Jarrah. But I made the funnel neck a bit bigger. I'll put a picture up of my pink one so you can see it here. So I was really tempted to remake that exact same pattern for the black, but part of me thought, no, that would be a bit boring. It's nice to try a new pattern, and I thought it'd be nice to see how the Jarrah with the funnel neck compared with the LB Pullover by Paper Theory. So that's why I decided for this version. So in terms of the sizing I chose for this one, all folded up there, I actually decided to size up slightly on my measurements. I think I ended up going for the UK 10, which actually is the close, oh no, I guess my sizing would put me between an 8 and 10 on the waist and hips, and it would put me just under in a size 8 on the bust. But I thought, let's go for the size 10. I want it to be fairly oversized, so it doesn't matter too much about the bust measurement. And I thought if the waist and hips were only just, my waist and hips were in between 8 and 10, I'm not going really big. So that's what I went for. But I shouldn't have. I should have trusted the pattern was oversized enough anyway, and I think that's one of the issues I had when I finished it. It just felt too big on me, and I think because this fabric is quite drapey, it felt like it was hanging off me a little bit in a way. So I think in hindsight, if I made this pattern again, I would go for the size 8, or I might even size down to the size 6, because I've decided maybe oversized, too oversized isn't totally my thing. But yeah, it was a really nice sew. It set up really nicely. I've gone for the kind of funnel neckline per the pattern, so it's slightly smaller funnel neck than for the pink, just because I thought I don't want to make too much of a feature of it. I want this to be really a garment that I can kind of use the basic to wear with other things, maybe like that have patterns on, like a pattern skirt and things. As you can see, one interesting thing about the fabric is the cable knit goes across. I quite like that, and I quite like with the drop shoulder how you at the end have the contrast of the fabric going across and then the cable knit going this way, and how they meet at the shoulder. I like it. But yes, this is it. Anyway, this is it. And like I said, when I tried on at first, it just felt a bit too big, even though I was going for oversized. It was a bit too oversized. So what I ended up doing was, I ended up unpicking down the sleeve and side seams, which wasn't very fun because it was so hard to see the thread on this black fabric. But I just spent a bit of time in the evening with a good light unpicking. And then what I did was I just narrowed the sleeves quite a bit, because I actually decided I think I prefer a slimmer sleeve like the Jarrah has. And I just took it a little bit of the side as well. Not loads on the sides actually, it was more the sleeve I think that just felt too much with the oversized sleeve and the oversized body. And then actually I was quite pleased to have spent the time doing that, because I think when I sewed this up to first of all, I might have been in a bit of a rush. I think it was just right before the summer holidays. And I didn't spend that much time pattern matching down the sort of sleeves and sides with these cable knit lines. And because the fabric, isn't the easiest fabric to work with, I feel like. It didn't feel like it went through the machine super smoothly. I had to sort of take it slowly and make sure I fed it through nicely, and I used my walking foot. But the first time the kind of fabric ended up dragging a little bit, and the lines got out of sync because I hadn't sort of pinned them very carefully. So it didn't feel like it looked quite bang on, and when I got to the end and sort of came to hem it, it didn't feel like it was neatly kind of hemming around a line of cable knit. It felt slightly wonky. So I wasn't totally happy with that either about it. So it was a good opportunity to go back, and I spent a bit more time this time putting loads of pins in, making sure the cable knit's lined up. So although it's quite subtle and it's black, you can't really see, but I know it all does line up more nicely this time. I just took a bit more care and time over it. So yeah, this is it. As I said, the pattern comes together really nicely. I think it was my silly fault for going for a slightly larger size and going too oversized. Nothing to do with the actual pattern at all. I think probably the Jarrah is still my favourite in terms of the fit of it. But I definitely would make this pattern again. I think I'd be interested to try in a different style of fabric, maybe one that's less drapey. I don't know. But I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like on. And in this picture, you can just see a peek of a skirt that is one of my Sabina skirts by the Little Pomegranate, which is one of the things I had in mind that I might pair with this jumper in winter, like a kind of midi length skirt. I quite like the idea of tucking an oversized jumper into midi length skirt, wearing it with some black boots and creating quite a cozy winter outfit. So yeah, that is my LB pullover. As I said, I'll link the fabric down below. It is really lovely, soft fabric. So yeah, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of this one. I think it'll be great with a pair of jeans as well as a skirt. I think it'll be quite a versatile one, and it is lovely and cozy. So yeah, I'm glad to have tried the LB pullover. I definitely would try it again, but I definitely would size down next time. So make number 3 is one that I've been working on just in dribs and drabs very gradually over the summer holidays. whenever I had little pockets of time, I just do a little bit more to progress this pattern, and I quite enjoyed working on it gradually and just see it come together very slowly, and it gave me a little sewing fix here and there in the summer holidays when I didn't have that much time to sew. And I'm really excited that it's all done and dusted now and I'm ready to share with you. And I'm particularly excited because it's something a bit different for me, this one. It's a pair of trousers. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I don't tend to sew a lot of trousers. That's mainly because I don't really wear them a lot. I do wear jeans quite a lot. And I have sewn a couple of pairs of summer trousers with like wide legs and elasticated waist in very swishy viscose fabrics, which I do enjoy wearing. But I don't tend to wear anything more tailored on the trousers front or anything more fitted. So it's just not something that I have tried sewing particularly. But I have had my eye on this pattern for quite a while. It's been one I thought I'd really like to try. I like the pattern company, and I thought the trousers looked a bit interesting. And the pattern is this one here. It's the Pietra pants and shorts pattern by Closet Core Patterns. And earlier in the summer, I saw that Rowan, the Yorkshire Sew Girl, had made a lovely pair of Pietra pants. And I messaged her on Instagram. We had a little chat about them, and she was really enthusiastic about the pattern and how it was pretty straightforward. So I thought it might be a really nice one to try as a bit of a step up from basic elasticated waist pair of trousers, just to kind of up my skills on trouser making. And I thought I could give these trousers a try, see how I feel in them, and see if I felt like they were something I might like to make more of, wear more of. So that was the plan. And then I saw some fabric that I thought would make a great match for this pattern. So I thought, well, it's meant to be. I got the pattern, got the fabric, sewed them up. So that's where I am now. So yeah, I'll talk a bit about the pattern first. In terms of sizing, as ever, it has a really good size range with Closet Core. There's a 0 to 20 version, which is the version I've got here, the paper pattern. But also in PDF, there's a 14 to 32 version as well. And then in terms of the pants, well, they're pretty cool. They've got like this sort of flat front with this really interesting panelled detail and pockets that are angled. And then we've got an elasticated waist on the back. So I thought they'd be a good step up from elasticated waist all around pants. There'll still be some forgiving features to the fit because the elastic, you can cinch it in. But they have got the kind of tailored front, which will be interesting to try sewing. And there's two different views of the trousers, and there's a cute shorts version as well. You can either make this sort of wide-legged version or my tailored trouser. And I quite fancy trying the tailored trouser. I don't know, I thought that may be something I could see myself wearing more, which is interesting because the other trousers I have that aren't jeans are more wide-legged, kind of summery ones. But yeah, I thought it'd be nice to try something a bit different anyway. And I quite like that version when I've seen it on other people. I know Rowan made that version too. So yeah, I decided to give them a go. Yeah, as ever with Closet Core patterns, they came together really nicely. I do really like Closet Core instructions. I find they sew up really well. They're always really fun to sew. But without further ado, I'll show you my Pietra pants. So here they are. I'll stand up a bit so you can see them all the way. So yeah, hold them close so you can see the details now. You can see it's got this interesting panelled front with these angled pockets. And actually I thought when I'd seen those pockets, they might be a bit pointless and more just there for aesthetics, but actually they're quite decent sized pockets and I can see myself using them, particularly for a phone or something. They're nice and deep, it would fit really well in there. Then at the back, it's got the elasticated waist. And another really nice design detail is on the inside, it's got this sort of almost facing here. And I know I was saying earlier I prefer bias bindings to facings, but I can see here it's really good because it kind of almost holds the structure of the front a bit more. I think it's interfaced, yep. It's interfaced, so it really holds that nice sort of tailored, sort of panelled flat front really nicely there. This fabric is a cotton linen blend and it came from Minerva. It's part of their new Minerva cotton linen range. I think it's either 55% cotton, 45% linen, or the other way round. I'll link this fabric down below. I thought it'd be a great fabric to try for this pattern. The pattern does say you can make it in a whole range of fabrics. You could use a structured woven such as linen or a chambray, or lightweight denim or twill. And it does say heavyweight wovens might create too much volume at the elastic waist at the back. It also said you could make the trousers in a rayon or another swishy fabric for a glamorous look. And I think that would look lovely in this wide-legged version. That would look really, really cool. But I wanted to make some that were a little bit more tailored and fitted. So I wanted something that had a little bit more structure and body to it. And I thought this cotton linen blend would be great because I thought it would still be fairly lightweight, but would still be nice to sew and hold the shape really nicely. So it's lovely actually. It's got like the texture of linen, which you might be able to see there, the sort of slub texture a little bit, but because it's got the cotton content, it's really soft, it doesn't feel at all scratchy, so really comfy to wear these trousers. And I think they're the perfect weight actually, not too bulky, so the waist at the back doesn't feel too bulky. I remember making an estuary skirt a while ago in a linen fabric, another cotton linen fabric, which is maybe a bit more heavyweight, and that felt too bulky at the back once the waist had gathered in, but this feels great. You can see it doesn't look too bulky there. As you mentioned, I was gifted this fabric by Minerva in exchange for a post which is now up on their website where I talk about all the details of this pattern, so I'll link that down below too. But yeah, I just love the fabric. I thought the teal colour was really pretty. I really like the kind of almost watercolour style florals on it, and I quite like the kind of blacks and whites. I thought they'd make it really easy to match to different tops. I could even maybe wear these trousers for winter look with my LB pullover I've made. That might look quite nice. In terms of sizing and adjustments on the Pietra pants, I made a straight size 6 based on my measurements, but I did make a couple of lengthening adjustments. And the first place I added a bit of length was on the rise, so I just added 1 centimetre here, just because I do think I've got a slightly longer than average body between my waist and my crotch measurement. I don't want it to come up too tight on the crotch. And I'm glad I made that adjustment. I feel like it sits fairly comfortably there, having added that 1 centimetre. I should mention though, I didn't realise, or I didn't read it carefully enough, I didn't realise you also had to lengthen the pocket piece in 2 places. If you lengthen the rise, because the pocket's like folded back on itself, how you construct it. So that I'd only lengthened by 1 centimetre, so I was a little bit out there and I had to kind of just manipulate the pattern pieces a little bit to work there. So it's worth bearing in mind, if you do lengthen anywhere where the pocket is, you'll need to lengthen twice on the pocket piece because it is folded back over. And then the other place I lengthened was I added a bit of length to the leg, and I actually added 5 centimetres, just because when I'd seen on Instagram, having had a scroll through the hashtag, it did look like View B came out a little bit cropped, and I wanted to be able to decide how cropped I wanted it. So I thought if I had a bit of extra length, I could always take it off again later. And actually, I didn't end up taking much length off. I decided on me, I liked a longer cropped look rather than a shorter cropped look. So I think I pretty much kept that length on. I actually ended up overlocking the bottom and doing quite a narrow hem, narrower than the pattern suggests. So I definitely needed all of the extra length. As you can see, it's quite a narrow hem for the bottom there. So yeah, those are my adjustments. And in terms of how the fit came up, having made a straight size 6, well, I really like the fit on the hips and the legs. I'll put a picture up so you can see the fit actually while I'm talking about it. But actually, the waist came up far too big. So I did think originally, well, the waist isn't too critical because it's got elastic at the back, so I'll be able to bring it in there. But I had to bring it in quite a lot. I had to use quite a shorter piece of elastic than the pattern suggested. And so what's happened a little bit is when I wear the pants, the front takes up a lot more of the overall waist than the back does. So my pattern pieces at the side almost pull back a little bit. I'll put a picture up so you can see what I mean. Instead of the seam going straight up the side, it kind of veers towards the back at the top because I'm pulling it in so much with the elastic. So if I make these pants again, which I think I would like to, I think I'd adjust and grade in at the waist a little bit to even it out a little bit. As you can see here, the front waistband goes around to here and the elastic is really pulled in quite a bit. And luckily this fabric isn't super bulky, so I was able to top stitch it okay and sort of pull the elastic out enough. But it was a challenge. I was pulling that elastic quite hard to kind of be able to top stitch and sort of stretch it out for the top stitching, so it didn't all sort of ruck. So yes, that is definitely one thing I'd change about the pants, but actually I wasn't sure if I'd like them or not on me. I thought it's one of those things where I'd give them a try and hope for the best, and it is a bit of a different style for me, being a bit more fitted and tailored at the front here. And I really love them actually. I feel they're really comfy to wear, and I really like the look of them. I like the tapered leg. Yeah, I think having tried them on, I think I see them more as like a pant I'll wear in summer rather than winter. I'm not sure if the crop length would work totally well with like winter shoes or boots. I think it will work better with like a pair of sandals or flip-flops, and like I've styled it here with like a vest top. And I guess this cotton linen fabric is quite a nice summery, breathable, fairly lightweight fabric, so it would work really well for summer. But I do really like the idea of maybe trying the Pietra pants for winter in a more wintry fabric too. So I'm going to have a think about that. If you've got any recommendations of fabric do you think would be great for a wintry pair? And also, if you think maybe that version would be better for winter, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Whether I could maybe lengthen these and pair them with boots. I'm not quite sure about the tapered leg and boots or what other shoes to wear them with in winter. But yeah. So I think this is a pair that I'll wear in summer, and I can see myself wearing them, and it does just feel like something different to add to my wardrobe. I really like how they fit it. They feel really nice with the kind of this face at the front. They feel like the shape will hold nicely at the front, but they also have the kind of loose fit. The taper leg isn't too tapered, doesn't feel snug on the leg at all. It's got a really nice fit to it actually, and the pockets are great. And yeah, they just came together really nicely. They're really fun make and fun to try something different. So yeah, I think I'm happy with my adjustments I made in terms of length and at different places, but I definitely would grade in at the waist next time. I remember reading about grading at the waist and I was a bit confused by the instructions because I think it was saying how don't adjust all the seams. I think what it was saying was basically you don't want to grade in at these seams because you want these seams down the front, these panelled seams, to be nice and straight, and it might start adjusting the pocket shape and all sorts of things if you tried to manipulate those, so that I need to grade in on this side of the kind of outer front trouser piece to grade in here. That'll be the place to grade in if I made another pair. But yeah, I'm really pleased with them. I love this fabric. I think it is a perfect match to this pattern if you're looking for more summery version, but I think it would also work well for a wintry version, team with a cozy jumper, maybe some tights underneath, I guess. That would work really well too. So yeah, I'll link the fabric on my blog post down below in the pattern too. I'm really glad to have tried the Pietra pants pattern. It was really fun to give it a go. And yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're wanting to try a pattern that's a step up from a basic elasticated waist trouser, or if you've made just pyjama bottoms before. Closet Core rate this one as a 2 out of 5 difficulty, and I guess that is that one step up from a really simple pair of pyjama bottoms or elasticated waist trousers. And yeah, just the construction was just really fun and a bit different with this whole panelled front, and I think it's a really pretty look. So yeah, but yeah, let me know what you think about a wintry pair, what fabric, which style. I'd love to hear your thoughts because it's really a pattern I'd like to use again, and I'd enjoy sewing again, I think. So yeah, those are my Pietra pants by Closet Core. I'm really glad that I gave them a go and tried some trousers and have something different to add to my wardrobe. And I think it is fun with sewing because sometimes it's really easy to get sort of stuck in a rut of sewing the same patterns, and I definitely love reusing patterns and getting lots of use out of them, but it is really fun sometimes just trying something new, a bit out of your comfort zone where you don't know if the fit's going to work, and just giving it a go. So yeah, and I think that this Minerva has this cotton linen blend with a whole range of different prints, so yeah, do go and have a browse of them too and check out my blog post. But yes, that is make number 3, my Closet Core Pietra pants. I made some trousers, hooray! So make 4 is actually a crochet make, and this has been my summer holidays crochet project, which I've been working on all through summer, and I just finished this week, so I thought it was perfect time to include it in this video too. So this is a project I haven't talked about on here before. I was working on a different crochet project before summer, but that was a piece of clothing where I thought the fit was a bit more critical. So I thought I'd set that aside over the summer, and I wanted to find myself a project that would be really portable that I could take on the plane when I went on holiday, and I didn't have to think about fitting. It's just something I could enjoy working through. That was quite simple, a bit like, I guess, having like a holiday book to read. My holiday crochet project, nice and simple and enjoyable. So at the beginning of summer holidays, I had a little research and I found a pattern I wanted to sew. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do because I'd made quite a few crochet bags recently. I thought I didn't need any more crochet bags, but I wanted something else that was maybe, yeah, like a non-garment type project. And this is, I guess, a garment, but it's a bit different. I'll show you. It's a little shawl. So this is the pattern here. It is called the Yes Yes Shawl, and it is a pattern by Bernat, which I think is a wool brand. And I think this is a free pattern, I guess, designed to promote their particular wool, which is a cotton yarn. And I just found this on the Lovecraft website and downloaded it. I'll link it down below. But I thought it was really cute. And what I thought would be interesting about this one for me is to do a bit of lace work with crochet. So I'm newer to crochet than knitting, as you'll know if you've watched my channel for a while. And I'm just still feeling like I'm developing my crochet skills, and I hadn't really done any crochet lace work before. So I thought this project would be a bit of a challenge in the sense of lace work and advance my crochet skills, but equally the fit isn't too critical. It is essentially just a shawl and a nice triangle shape, so I wouldn't have to worry on that front. So yeah, that is it there. You can see the lovely different styles of lace work, and you get this whole little grid here to kind of follow, which I haven't done so much in crochet. I've followed like a knitting chart like that before, but not so much in crochet other than sort of little mini diagrams here and there. So yeah, I thought it would be quite fun to follow. So that is what I decided to work on over the summer. So in terms of the yarn that I use for this project, well, the pattern is designed for one of their own brands of yarn, which is the Bernat Cottonish, which is a cotton DK yarn. When I was looking for this yarn online before the summer, I can't remember whether either I found it a bit tricky to find it, or I found it but the colours that were available, ones I wasn't so keen on. So I ended up looking for an equivalent yarn that would also hopefully work well. So I found this other yarn that had a similar gauge on it, and it also is a cotton double knit yarn. And it's this one here, and the Paintbox Yarns Cotton Mix DK. I got this from Lovecraft, I'll link it down below. It comes in quite a lot of pretty colours, and I really like this shade of blue. I thought it was a really pretty shade of blue, and I could see it working with quite a few things in my wardrobe. So that's what I went for. As you can see, I've got a whole ball left here, even though I finished the shawl. So the pattern says you need 2 balls of the Bernat Cottonish. And when I had a look, I think it looked like you got slightly less in a ball in terms of length of the yarn overall in this yarn than you did in the pattern recommended yarn. So I ordered 3 balls to be on the safe side. I do find with wool I always err on the side of caution and order more, because I know sometimes if you then order again you can get a different batch lot and it can have been dyed slightly differently, so you can end up with a kind of noticeable difference between the shades, which is always tricky with knitting, I think. So I ordered 3 balls of wool to be on the safe side, but I'm wondering whether the original pattern says 2 balls, but actually it maybe only needed 1.5 or 1.25 balls, because I definitely could have got away with just pulled 2 balls for this shawl, but never mind, I've got a bit extra left over. It is a really pretty colour, I'm sure I'll find something nice to use it for. So that is the yarn I use, and then the pattern recommends a 4mm crochet hook. But when I used a 4mm crochet hook, the sample came up much smaller than the gauge would suggest, and I do find that often on things. I know I am a tight knitter and crocheter, but then I actually looked and it said the gauge on the pattern here didn't seem to tally with the gauge when I looked at the wool, so I'm not sure what went on there. But I ended up sizing up to the largest crochet hook that I had, which is a 6mm, and that seemed to be getting closer to the gauge, so I thought I'm going to go with it. And because it's like a repeating pattern, if it is still a little bit smaller, I can just add more to the pattern and that would be fine. It would just be slightly more dainty, I guess, than it's intended, and slightly more chunky on the pattern, or maybe it's slightly more looser lace. Anyway, I thought I'd go with that, and that worked well. And actually it was a really fun project, and I was a bit daunted at first by the instructions and the diagram, but once I started going, it kind of got into a pattern, and it felt like it started coming together, and I knew what I was doing, and I started recognising the different rows. One thing I did think was, I'm going to finish this really quickly, because I did a few rows on the plane. It was really fast, going back and forth, and I thought, I'm nearly done, I've only got a few rows to go. And then I read the last bit of the pattern, and it said repeat the last 4 rows enough times to get to a certain width. So actually this is the starter pattern, but actually if you saw the whole thing, there'll be a lot more rows added on. It's just you repeat those last rows, and obviously the longer they get, the more time it gets to go back and forth. So it did take longer than I thought, which is good actually, because I didn't want it to be over too soon, because I was really enjoying it. But anyway, I'll show you my completed shawl, and here it is. I'll make sure I show you there's a wrong side and a right side, because the way it stitches, this is the side here. Oh, that looks quite nice actually. You can see it really well if I hold up there, the pale background. So this is my lacy shawl, and I'm really happy with it. I'm not sure it's perfect, you know, I may not have got the tension exactly equal everywhere, but it's good enough, and I really enjoyed making it, and I love the colour. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun really. Although I was really pleased when it was finished, I was a bit disappointed too. I did actually make it slightly smaller than the pattern suggests. The pattern says you should continue repeating the last 4 rows of the pattern until the shawl measures approximately 50 inches across the top straight edge. So this is kind of this edge here. But actually I stopped. I think I'd need 1 more repetition of those rows to get to that point, and I stopped at this point because I thought it was quite a nice size anyway. And I think rather than wear it as a shawl, I might wear it as a scarf, like this sort of thing. I quite like that. I think it looks quite nice at the front. I think that's probably a style that feels a bit more me than wearing it as a shawl. And I think if it was a shawl, I'd probably be tucking on it and worry it was going to fall off the back. And yeah, I just thought it would look quite nice there. You could wear it as a jacket, all sorts. I wasn't sure if it would go over this top actually, but it doesn't look too bad over this top with the blues. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It was really enjoyable. And it's rated, the pattern's rated intermediate 3 out of 4 on this. So I'm quite pleased with myself with having completed that intermediate pattern and not found it too scary. And I did have a few moments where I went onto another row and realised I'd missed a stitch and I had to go back and unpick. But luckily it was quite an easy one to unpick because of the rows. And yeah, there's a couple of times when I was a bit frustrated when I realised. But yeah, I just took my time slowly over it. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable holiday project. And I'm glad I tried something different. So yes, that is my crochet project for the summer, and it's quite good actually because I guess it's quite more of a wintry item, a scarf. So I crocheted it over the summer and now it's ready for the autumn to wear. So yeah, I'll link the pattern and the yarn down below. I like a cotton yarn. I think it's nice and soft, and with it being like going around my neck, it won't feel too, you know, if it's like because it's like a breathable fabric, it'll feel nice and comfy to wear. So yes, that is my first sort of lacework crochet item. I definitely would like to try more. So yeah, I'm going to have a look for more crochet projects. I've got to finish one that I started before summer now. I really want to finish that. It's like a winter vest with flowers on, which I think I've talked about a bit in previous videos before the summer. So that's next on my list. And then after that, I'm going to be looking for some new crochet or knitting projects for the autumn winter. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. So yes, that is my make 4. So those are my 4 makes that I've been working on over the summer, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing about them. And next up for me is some autumnal sewing. So I've got some new fabrics ordered and some new sewing plans, some lovely autumn projects, and I can't wait to get started on them. So I'll be sharing them on here soon, so please do join me for more videos going forward in the autumn. Thank you so much for watching this video and for coming back to my channel after my break. I do appreciate you coming back, and it's really lovely to be back on here sharing the love for sewing. Yeah, it's nice to be back. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe, and yeah, keep an eye out for my future videos. I'll be back again soon. In the meantime, I hope you have a lovely week, and yes, see you again soon. Bye.